to set the tone for these proceedings and to also inform us of the changes to the program to allow other official duties to proceed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rose Washuka, Chief of Staff. My Lady, the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, allow me, distinguished guests, esteemed judges, colleagues, to ride on the protocols that have already been established and greet you this morning. Good morning. Good morning once again. It is a profound honor and privilege to welcome you all to the launch of the State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice 2024-25 report. We warmly welcome you to the Judiciary of Kenya, and your presence today affirms the solemnity of this constitutional moment as we account to the people of Kenya, the ultimate custodians of judicial authority. Honorable Chief Justice, this year's theme, Enhancing Accountability and Public Trust in the Judiciary, could not be more fitting. It speaks directly to the constitutional reality that judicial power is delegated by the people, and therefore our legitimacy rests on their trust. SOJA is our annual accountability instrument, not only for the public resources entrusted to us, but also for the honor of the offices that we hold. Over the years, it has also become a strategic self-assessment tool through which we measure the socio-economic impact of our programs and calibrate our institutional priorities. The milestones that we present today stand on the strong foundation of the social transformation through access to justice blueprint. My Lady, the Honorable Chief Justice, we thank you for your visionary leadership that continues to unify our efforts around a clear, transformative institutional horizon. We similarly appreciate the Judicial Service Commission for enabling policies and support that anchor our progress. My deepest gratitude goes to our judges, judicial officers, and judicial staff who, despite operational constraints, continue to deliver justice with dedication, integrity, and resilience. You are the heartbeat of our service to the nation, and I think you deserve a round of applause. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, we appreciate your presence and your steadfast support. You will note that many of our achievements align closely with a better agenda, which places micro, small, and medium enterprises at the center of national economic revitalization. Karibu sana to the judiciary. I also acknowledge the Speaker, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss-Sholei, who has also joined us, and representing the Right Honorable Speaker today. We value the strengthened collaboration and look forward to SOJA's eventual tabling and debate in the National Assembly. Honorable Chief Justice, in July this year, we were privileged to present the SOJA 2023-24 report to the Senate Justice and Legal Affairs Human Rights Committee. And we are grateful for the support that we have continued to receive from the JLAC Committee, both at Senate and at the National Assembly. We know that in this meeting we'll be joined by the chairs of both committees. We are honored by the presence of Honorable Justice Dunstan Mulambo, Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa, who joins us today as a special guest of the Honorable Chief Justice. Thank you, Your Lordship, for graciously accepting the invitation at such a short notice. The judiciary of South Africa continues to stand as a global exemplar of transformative justice, and we remain enriched by the lessons and inspiration drawn from your experience. Ladies and gentlemen, the achievements in this report reflect the collective effort of our partners across the justice chain. That is the Law Society of Kenya, the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the National Police Service, and the Kenya Prison Service, among others. We deeply value your collaboration and shared commitment. To our development partners, we extend our gratitude for working with us and supporting numerous initiatives whose impact is evident in this year's report. Allow me to recognize and sincerely appreciate the dedicated team behind this year's SOJA report, ably led by Ms. Rose Washuka, the Chief of Staff. Kindly stand up together with the rest of the team for recognition. Can we applaud them? Thank you. Well done. Well done. Honorable Chief Justice, ladies and gentlemen, this year's SOJA is in many ways a stage takeoff report. It shows with clarity and compelling data that our multi-door justice approaches are rapidly gaining traction. The harvest is ripening faster than anticipated, and the question before us is whether we have adequate capacity to sustain and process this momentum. We must strengthen our systems now so that rising demand does not outpace our ability to serve Kenyans effectively. The report highlights a 20% overall rise in civil case filings. Even more striking is the 58% surge in civil matters, largely driven by the exponential rise of small claims court filings, from 41,554 to 158,357 cases, a growth of over 280%. The data tells a powerful story. Nearly 24% of all cases filed involve claims that are below 1 million shillings. These cases reflect the daily commercial realities of a middle-income economy of 56 million Kenyans, driven by small and medium-sized enterprises. Therefore, our justice investments must target this level of fast, accessible, affordable dispute resolution for the everyday entrepreneur. From an accounting officer's perspective, SOJA points unmistakably to the next frontier of justice investment. While physical infrastructure remains essential to sustaining a modern judiciary, the data compels us to deliberately rebalance our investment towards people-centered mechanisms, that is the small claims courts, ADR, mediation, and AJS, which are proving to be the most impactful frontline enablers of access to justice. These mechanisms are the real game changers, and unless funded commensurately, the growth we celebrate today may place pressure on the broader system. As Kenya positions itself to rise as a thriving middle-income opportunity-driven economy, the judiciary remains a central enabler of market stability and investor confidence, because no economy thrives without a strong, predictable justice system. Strategic funding is how we demonstrate in real terms the value that we place on justice as a national priority. As we launch this report, I invite us all to reflect deeply on its implications operationally, institutionally, and nationally, and as we continue to position justice as a driver of economic progress and social transformation. Once again, I warmly welcome you to this event and to the Judiciary of Kenya. Thank you for honoring us with your distinguished presence. Honorable Chief Justice, given the fact that we are constrained of time because of our chief guest, the Deputy President, there was a proposal to adjust the program slightly in order to accommodate him, given that he has other pressing responsibilities, and it is an honor that he has attended this function. The proposal, therefore, is to move to our the next session of the program, where we are to have the National Assembly Deputy Speaker address us, and then we will also move to the Chair of JLAC in the Senate, Mr. Hillary. You will also address us, and then thereafter I will guide the program on how we'll proceed. So it is now my distinct honor to invite the representative of the Speaker, Honorable Gladys Bos-Sholay, to deliver her address. Please let us welcome her with warm welcome. Karibu sana.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Kithure Kindiki, Your Ladyship, the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, and Lady Justice Martha Koome, Honorable Judges of the Superior Court, judicial officers, the judicial administrative staff, members of Parliament present, members of the Judicial Service Commission, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give the compliments of the Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. Moses Wetangula, who was not able to be here today, but sent me to read his speech and sends his best regards. And I will read it as is. I'm deeply honored to join you at this important national event, the launch of the State of the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice report for the financial year 2024-2025. I convey my sincere appreciation to your ladyship for the gracious invitation and for the remarkable stewardship you continue to provide in advancing judicial independence, innovation, and integrity. I must commend the great strides made by the judiciary in digitization, reduction of backlog, and human resource optimization. Justice must be timely, accessible, predictable, and in the words of Aristotle, the law is reason, free from passion, yet timely administration of justice is what gives that reason its true meaning. This annual report is not merely a constitutional requirement. It is an indispensable accountability instrument that strengthens Kenya's democratic fabric. Our judiciary serves the key roles of protecting the promise of democracy, guarding the soul of the Constitution, and building and maintaining public trust in our institutions. This occasion should therefore not be viewed through the narrow lenses of the launch of the report. SOJA is a mirror that reflects the state of the institutional strength, moral posture, and public trust in the justice system. The report is more than an administrative record. It is a record of progress, a diagnostic tool of the challenges to access justice, and also an invitation for all of us to collaborate and recommit to the constitutional vision of ensuring that justice is seen to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight two critical legislative interventions currently before the National Assembly, initiatives that reaffirm the Parliament's unwavering commitment in strengthening the judiciary. First, as has been noted by the chairperson, or will be noted by the chairperson of JLAC, the Judges Retirement Benefits Bill 2025, this is a historic and long overdue piece of legislation that seeks to safeguard the welfare of our retired judges. A judiciary that attracts and retains men and women of integrity must equally be honored. They must equally be honored upon retirement. The bill is currently at the second reading and benefiting from a robust deliberations to secure the decency of judges of our superior courts in their retirement. The National Assembly is firmly committed to supporting this legislation as it speaks directly to judicial dignity, independence, and institutional continuity. And I must confirm that I was presiding over the House when the deliberations began. Not a single person objected to the bill. And that is usually very unusual for Parliament. Usually we have the naysayers and the ayes, but this time each and every person who spoke on Wednesday supported it absolutely. And we shall continue with debate on Thursday and on Tuesday, and then probably put the question. So you have our commitment, and Parliament has realized that that was grave injustice, that bill wasn't there in the first place for all this time. The second piece of legislation is the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill 2025. The Judiciary Academy has served as an invaluable training and research arm, and this bill seeks to anchor it firmly in law. By doing so, we expect to strengthen the efforts to enhance the skills, the knowledge, and the professionalism of the judicial officers and other justice sector holders. This bill is at the public participation stage, with a report, which report is expected to be tabled shortly, hopefully on Thursday, before we go on recess. Once enacted, it will elevate the academy into a robust statutory institution, supporting innovation, continuous learning, and excellence. The two bills are practical demonstrations of the legislature's support to the judiciary in fulfilling its constitutional mandate. And as we receive SOJA today, we must remember that the rule of law is shared responsibility. An independent and well-supported judiciary is not a gift. It is a constitutional imperative and a national necessity. As former Chief Justice Al Warren aptly put, justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. And we all agree that the judiciary should also be well-resourced, financially and technologically, and with adequate human resources, is better positioned will be better positioned to dispense justice efficiently and fairly. Parliament will therefore continue to prioritize adequate and sustainable budgetary allocations to respond to the emerging needs of the judiciary and to foster constructive engagement through the National Council for the Administration of Justice. I'm aware that the judiciary currently operates with only 64% of the establishment. That is 6,979 employees against a requirement of 10,870 personnel. This severe human resource deficit constrains the courts and contributes to backlog, delays, and undermines the clearance rate of our cases, and also undermines innovations such as the small claims court. In the forthcoming deliberations for the financial year 2026-2027 budget, I would urge the judiciary to robustly engage Parliament through the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee for priority allocation of resources for recruitment of additional judges, judicial officers, and staff to significantly address the identified needs. Your Ladyship, as I conclude, the Apostle Luke notes in the good book that to whom more is given, more is expected. As Parliament, we undertake to support the judiciary to achieve its constitutional purpose. As a rider, we must always remember to fulfill the attendant elevated public expectations as a result. All of us must account for every public penny given, and we must not hesitate to denounce and cut corruption to its root. Against this backdrop of the recent adverse comments by the public and practitioners on internal accountability of the judiciary, today's launch presents an invaluable opportunity, and I'm confident that this report and subsequent actions by the judiciary and its partners shall allay the public concerns and affirm the judiciary's commitment to transparency and institutional integrity. I congratulate the judiciary for what I expect to be the launch of another comprehensive and candid report, and on behalf of Parliament, I have reaffirmed our readiness to continue engaging constructively with our sister arm of government. As recently noted during the inaugural joint forum between the legislature and the judiciary, we undertake to prioritize consideration of policy and legislative recommendations contained in the report so as to advance the full realization of the right of access to justice for all. Congratulations again, and I thank you, and it's signed by the Right Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Gladys Boss, for the wonderful remarks and the great speech from the speaker. Distinguished guests, I want to apologize for the slight mix-up in terms of protocol. We were actually to have the representative of the JLAC Committee of the National Assembly, Mr. Adan Dawood, representing the chair, to speak, and then the chair of JLAC in the Senate Committee to speak. So kindly accept that apology. Yes. So, Honorable Adan Dawood, kindly, you're welcome to give your remarks.
Thank you very much. Let me also ride on the protocols that has been established. All that I needed to say has been said by my Deputy Speaker regarding what the National Assembly is doing. But let me read the speech of the Chair of JLAC. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to join you in the launch of the State of Judiciary and Administration of Justice Report, SOJA 2024-2025. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to the organizers of this event for extending an invitation to me and their efforts culminating in today's ceremony. Your Ladyship, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Section 52B of the Judicial Service Act, Cap 8A, mandates that the Honorable Chief Justice present the annual State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report. Beyond being a statutory report, this report is an essential instrument of transparency, public accountability, and institutional introspection. It enables Parliament, the government, and the Kenyan citizenry to appreciate the judiciary's achievements and ongoing challenges and future inspirations. Your Ladyship, the Honorable Chief Justice, and the entire leadership of the judiciary, as the people's representatives, allow me to laud your able stewardship of the judicial reforms and your commitments to ensuring access to justice for all Kenyans. This progress, reported each year, reflects dedication, innovation, and hard work of the judges, judicial officers, and staffs of the wider justice sector. In particular, I commend the judiciary's efforts in digitizing court processes, strengthening alternative justice systems, and expanding access to justice in marginalized regions. Honorable Chief Justice, initiatives such as Justice e-filings system and establishment of ICT desks at Huduma centers and court stations have transformed the way citizens interact with the justice system. In addition, the judiciary's heightened awareness and proactive response to pressing societal challenges, particularly the alarming rise of sexual and gender-based violence, are commendable. The establishment of dedicated SGBV courts reflects a compassionate and victim-centered approach to justice, and we thank the judiciary for doing that. Your leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on resource allocation, the SOJA 2023-2024 highlighted the need for Parliament to appropriate additional resources to enable the hiring of more judges for the Court of Appeal, to raise the number to at least 70. In this current financial year, 2025-2026, judiciary proposed estimates was 26.88 billion. I am pleased to report that through intervention of the Justice Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly, the judiciary was allocated 26.937 billion, comprising of 25.237 billion for recurrent expenditure and 1.7 billion for development expenditure. That is an increase of about 0.6 billion for development expenditure. JLAC in the National Assembly remains a partner to the judiciary. Your leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, JLAC is committed to midwifing legislative reforms as already stated by our Deputy Speaker. These reforms include the Tribunal Bill 2025, National Assembly Bill number 43 of 2025. It has now been published and is awaiting the first reading. Additionally, JLAC has recommended amendments to the Pensions Act, Cap 189, on judges' welfare, and is now considering the Judges' Retirement Benefits Bill 2025 in a comprehensive framework on pension for judges. This bill has already been tabled, as already said by the Deputy Speaker. Your leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, another significant legislative initiative is the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill 2025, which is currently under consideration by JLAC. We shall table our report on that bill next week, God willing. With respect to the reforms in the Criminal Justice Center, JLAC has engaged with the National Council on Administration of Justice Working Committee on Criminal Justice Reforms. This engagement has led to proposed amendments of the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code. In our most recent interaction in October 2025, it was agreed that NCAJ committee will submit a refined legislative proposals for further processing. The proposed amendment incorporate key recommendations of the judiciary's SOJA 2023-2024. Your leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as a committee responsible for governance and justice sector, Justice Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly reaffirm its commitment to continue engaging with the judiciary to facilitate achievement of social transformation through access to justice. I congratulate the judiciary for this launch and the milestone I expect to be noted in the report. We shall ensure that the recommendation and priorities outlined in SOJA are effectively considered by the National Assembly. I thank you. Honorable George Murugara. Asante sana.
Thank you, Honorable Aden Dawood, for the wonderful remarks. As a judiciary, we recognize JLAC as the most consequential legislative and oversight partner, and we continue to appreciate your support. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to now invite Honorable Hilary Sigei, Chair of the Senate Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs, to give his remarks. Karibu sana. Let us clap as we
Thank you very much. The Deputy President, His Excellency Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Chief Justice and the President of Supreme Court, the judges of Supreme Court, as well as the entire judiciary fraternity, my colleagues, members of Parliament present, Cabinet Secretaries present, all distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, my sincere apologies for coming in late. I should have been here before you. Kindly accept my apology. And I will just go straight to make comments on this wonderful, great day that we have as the justice system in Kenya. It is my pleasure to join the judiciary fraternity today as you officially launch the annual State of Judiciary and Administration of Justice report for the year 2024-2025. This report is a critical reflection of our justice sector's progress and challenges, serving as a valuable tool for continued reform and accountability. Over the past year, Parliament has engaged deeply with key issues affecting the administration of justice. These include the urgent needs to address case backlogs and delays that undermine access to timely justice, the enhancement of judicial independence and integrity, and the strengthening of legal frameworks to protect human rights and promote constitutionalism. Our oversight has also focused on ensuring adequate budgetary allocation to enable the judiciary fulfill its mandate. Honorable Chief Justice, just last week, I tabled in the floor of the Senate the report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on its consideration of the SOJA report for the financial year 2023-2024. This followed a highly impactful meeting that was held earlier in the year with the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary and the NCAJ team that deliberated on the report. The report is now scheduled for debate and adoption in the Senate, which is a key avenue for disseminating the report and allowing members of the House as well as members of the public to appreciate and highlight the successes, challenges, and opportunities for enhanced service delivery in the justice system. Of note, Your Excellency Deputy President and the Chief Justice, is that our committee in the Senate underscored in that particular report the need to enhance the budgetary allocation to the judiciary in order to facilitate the recruitment of additional judicial officers and critical cadres of judicial staff, and to facilitate the expansion and modernization of court infrastructure across the country. We also pledged to collaborate with the judiciary, the Office of the Attorney General, and the National Treasury to put the legislative framework in place for the operationalization of the Judiciary Fund, which will further safeguard the autonomy of the judiciary as envisaged in the Constitution of Kenya. We look forward to meeting with you again early next year once the report that we are launching today has been tabled in Parliament, so that we can go through it in its identical and identify key action areas for Parliament to take action, and as JLAC, we commit to participate fully in that very important process. Your Excellency the Deputy President and the Chief Justice and distinguished guests, moving forward, there is a clear and growing opportunity for enhanced partnership between Parliament and the judiciary. Collaboration is essential to foster legislative reforms that support judicial efficiency, embrace technology for improved case management, and safeguard the rule of law. Parliament remains committed to facilitating an enabling environment where the judiciary can operate with full independence and adequate resources. As JLAC of the Senate, we undertake to fully support where we are called upon as a major partner in the justice system. Our shared aspiration is a justice sector that is accessible, transparent, accountable, and responsive to the needs of all Kenyans. We envision strengthened service delivery through innovations such as digitization of court processes, expanded legal aid services, and continuous capacity building for justice sector actors. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, together Parliament and the Judiciary can drive reforms that cement public confidence and uphold Kenya's constitutional values. Your Excellency, the Deputy President and the Honorable Chief Justice and distinguished guests, in closing, I wish to reaffirm the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the Senate's readiness to partner with the Judiciary in a spirit of mutual respect and constitutional cooperation. The report we celebrate today is not just a performance scorecard and document. It is a clarion call to deepen our collaboration, tackle the justice gaps, and ensure that our justice system delivers for all Kenyans. The journey ahead will not be easy. The budget deficits, backlog pressures, capacity constraints are formidable. But the progress of the past year in closing cases, expanding access, and deploying technology shows what is possible when commitment meets collaboration. As Parliament, and in particular as Senate, we pledge to remain vigilant, supportive, and constructive. We believe that a strong, independent, well-resourced judiciary is not just the pillar of democracy, it is the guarantee of dignity and the rule of law for every Kenyan. I look forward to this continued partnership as we work collectively towards a just and equitable society. I congratulate you on this day, and I thank you all for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sige, for the wonderful remarks and commitment to support the judiciary to strengthen service delivery. It is now my privilege and honor to invite Her Ladyship, the Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mbete Mwilu, to give her remarks and share her reflections, and in turn invite the Honorable Chief Justice. Karibu sana. We can welcome her with a round of applause.
Thank you, Chief Registrar. Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, our Deputy President, the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, Martha Koome, colleague judges, the Registrar of the Judiciary, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, my colleagues in the Judiciary, our justice system and development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I extend a warm welcome to you all on this most auspicious occasion. It is a privilege for me to address this distinguished gathering as we reflect on the 2024-2025 State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Report, popularly known as SOJA. The SOJA report is, in a sense, a public audit of our performance during the reporting period, of how faithfully we have honored our mandate to dispense justice to all persons without fear, favor, affection, or ill will. The data shows visible and commendable progress. For example, more cases were resolved than were filed. Courts across all levels have increased productivity, and we are actively leveraging innovations through digital platforms. We are promoting justice and dispute resolution systems, and we are redistributing caseloads through the Mahakama Popote initiative. All of these towards improving our efficiency and effectiveness. But performance cannot be measured by output alone. It must be measured by equity, consistency, and sustainability. Performance must be measured by impact. It is true that performance must be supported by staffing. The institution is operating with less than 2/3 of her approved personnel. Now, this structural shortage stretches human capacity, it fuels delay, and it risks burnout. It is neither sustainable nor constitutionally acceptable, and thank you, Parliament, for your promises. However, as the judiciary continues to advocate for more resources, we must internally confront inefficiencies, we must improve our operations, and we must institutionalize continuous capacity building, judicial, administrative, to optimize the abundant talents that we have. Friends, if performance is the body of the judiciary, then integrity has got to be its soul. Without it, no achievement, no innovation, and no reform can command public trust. This year saw several commendable steps. We've seen stronger disciplinary systems. We've seen clearer ethical frameworks. We've seen enhanced oversight mechanisms and new integrity structures, such as the court integrity committees and the employee protection unit. These are meaningful reforms. They show a judiciary willing to scrutinize itself. However, we must acknowledge with candor that integrity risks still persist. Some arise from individual misconduct, others from systemic vulnerabilities, and still others from resource constraints that create pressure points where ethical breaches become tempting. The bar of public expectation is high, as it should be. We must ensure that complaints handling systems work consistently across stations, that disciplinary processes are predictable and fair, that corruption risks are mapped and mitigated before they escalate beyond reach. Our commitment to integrity must be absolute, not rhetorical. Integrity must be visible in courtroom behavior, in registry interactions, in procurement, in the use of judicial time, and in the stewardship of public resources. It must be the culture of this institution, not merely its aspiration. Friends, in short, we have progressed, but not evenly, and not yet sufficiently. Whilst the judiciary is implementing reforms that bring justice closer to the people, such as expanded fiscal infrastructure, operationalizing more courts, strengthening tribunals, promoting alternative justice systems, and deepening the use of technology in all aspects of our operations, the data in the Soldier report must push us to reflect more critically. Fiscally, the fiscal expansion must not outpace staffing. And technology, though transformative, must not endanger digital divides and exclusion. Importantly, they must be reliable and serve the users both externally and internally. At the heart of the SOJA report is one solemn prerogative: accountability to the sovereign in the exercise of judicial authority. And the sovereign is the people of Kenya. This constitutional imperative is framed by Articles 1, 10, and 159 of the 2010 Constitution, and it is augmented under Section 52B of the Judicial Service Act. The SOJA report is not presented today for mere informational purposes, nor do we seek platitudes. We do not seek congratulations or praise. We seek honest, critical, and constructive dialogue involving all stakeholders on the form and substance of justice provision in our country. Practical and productive feedback on how we can co-produce impactful and sustainable interventions that will result in tangible justice dividends for all Kenyans. That is what we seek. We have the situational analysis as presented in our SOJA report this year, and we must deepen meaningful engagement towards improving justice provision for all the people of Kenya. The SOJA report provides a detailed snapshot of the status of the judiciary as it frames the justice context from the judiciary's perspective. It is also an invitation for support and engagement towards the realization of the people-centered justice vision as contained in our institutional compass, the START blueprint. We are acutely cognizant of our shortcomings and our capacity vis-a-vis the expectations of Kenyans for a judiciary that facilitates and supports the aspirations of all Kenyans. How we maximize our strengths, exploit our existing and potential opportunities, how we address our challenges and weaknesses, and importantly, how we ensure resilience and sustainability will require support from across the justice sector and from all our stakeholders. The SOJA report provides a critical baseline in that regard. Friends, our progress is real and our challenges are significant. Our resolve must be unwavering, therefore. Let us together recommit ourselves to a judiciary and justice system that is not only effective but exemplary, not only efficient but ethical, and not just accessible but transformative. God bless all of us here present. God bless the judiciary of Kenya, and God bless the Republic of Kenya. It's now my pleasure to welcome the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic and the President of the Supreme Court to give us her address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my sister, the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court. Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, my dear friend and brother, the Honorable Dunstan Mulamba, Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Gladys Bose-Shole, our Deputy Speaker, representing the Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. Moses Wetangula, Honorable Hilary Sigei, my colleague, Justices of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court and Courts of Equal Status, judicial officers, directors and staff, our development partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our guests this morning, good morning. Good morning again. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence to launch this year's Sonja report. Before I go to my speech, because I've been given this segment of the program to learn, I wish to call two dear friends, beginning with my friend, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Madam Harris Wahome. She is one of us. She has practiced law for many, many years. I just want her to greet us. I know she is seeking permission from His Excellency, the Deputy President, but I am here. This is my time now. I want her to greet us because she is in charge of our key Ministry of Lands. We live on land. Our courts are in land. And therefore, she knows the reason why I want her to greet us this morning. Welcome.
Freds don't ambush each other. I am thoroughly ambushed by my good friend, the Honorable the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court. All protocols observed. My Deputy President is here, and he's officially the one giving the speech. And he asked me which side I am. I think I have been betrayed also. Good morning. I really don't have a speech, and I did not expect to come here, but I want to confirm that I know that my ministry is the largest maybe occupant in terms of the register of cases throughout the country, and we continue seeing very good jurisprudence coming up, and yes, we ought to be maybe doing much better, but all efforts are being done by the government and put in place in terms of funding also, so that we can reduce the cases that are coming even to the judiciary for litigation. That obviously means that we must do automation. We must complete our ADISASA system. The National Land Information and Management System needs to be complete, and that will secure the land tenures, everything, our security of documents. And therefore, Honorable Chief Justice, I also know that this particular, maybe from this wall up to there, you have been waiting for titling of the judiciary plot, but not just yourself, actually also the COMESA. We are evaluating, and I know I gave a commitment, and I have been charged by the Deputy President to make sure that we complete that exercise. I want to confirm that we are working on it, and we cannot, of course, be the ones fighting the judiciary in terms, you don't have, in fact, enough space, and therefore we will continue working with you. Thank you for the efforts, the work you do in terms of land cases, but I want to plead that in most cases, if the courts were to call for records of the ministry, the record for land in every other parcel, you will get an answer there, because those that have been alterated, those that have been fraudulently altered, the chief land registrar should give the solution and assist the judiciary coming up with the right answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Judges wanted to hear that, especially when we will receive our title for this plot, because they have been asking me and I did not have an answer. Thank you very much. My next special guest, with your permission, Your Excellency, our Deputy President, is the Deputy Chief Justice of South Africa, Justice Mlamba. I request you, my brother, I know we ambushed you from a conference you are attending to grace this occasion, and I want you to share a few remarks before I give my speech. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Your Excellency, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, you will excuse me for adopting this line of observing protocols. I'm a peregrinus of this jurisdiction, so I don't want to try and emulate what you are doing in terms of observing the protocol, because I don't want to spoil it. But I want to say, please allow me, Honorable Chief Justice, to ride on all the protocols that have already been observed. It is a distinct honor for me to join you today on this important occasion, marking the annual presentation of the Kenya State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report. Please allow me to express my appreciation to you, as well as the appreciation of my leader, Honorable Chief Justice Mandi Samaya, who is your friend, Honorable Chief Justice, to be part of this program. I must also acknowledge the long-standing spirit of collaboration and mutual respect between the South African and Kenyan judiciaries, which has fostered valuable exchanges. I also convey warm greetings from my Chief Justice, as I say, and she will be doing the same thing in a few days' time, next week. So, and she instructed me, not directed me, to take full notes of what you are doing today. It is remarkable that the Judiciary of Kenya has firmly demonstrated that it is serious about accountability, especially after its far-reaching constitutional reforms of 2010, which entrenched judicial independence and accountability. The occasion today, therefore, is not merely ceremonial. It is a mechanism for transparency to affirm institutional independence and, in so doing, reinforce public trust in the administration of justice. I therefore commend you, Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koome, that whilst you fiercely promote and defend judicial independence, you have demonstrated your exemplary leadership by embracing judicial reporting in a public, evidence-based and reflective process. Under your leadership, the Kenyan judiciary has made serious strides in being the pallbearer of good practice in this region. I do not want to take much of your time. I just want to say to you, my Honorable Chief Justice said, I must congratulate you and congratulate the Judiciary of Kenya for this milestone, and to let you know that we are not far behind. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much. Let us appreciate the Deputy Chief Justice of South Africa for gracing this occasion and for those very, very kind words of encouragement. Before I speak, also, I want to recognize the distinguished members of the National Council on the Administration of Justice. Please be upstanding. We recognize you, all the members of NCAJ. Thank you very much for coming. You are a very critical cog in the administration of justice, and we value the support that you give to the judiciary to keep the wheels of justice moving. I also want to recognize in a very, very special way our development partners who are present here with us this morning. Please, if you can be upstanding, I know you will have a chance to speak, but I want our chief guest, before he leaves, to see the people, to thank you most sincerely for honoring us with your presence. I know how tight your program is. His Excellency, the President, was supposed to be here, but I had him negotiate with you so that you could hold this brief this morning, and we are so, so grateful that you were able to spare time to come and launch for us the Sonja report. I also want to thank the representatives of various arms of government, agencies in the justice sector, our development partners, and stakeholders for joining us for the presentation of the State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report for the financial year 2024-2025. Your presence here today reflects a shared national commitment to all of us strengthening the rule of law and advancing the administration of justice. This occasion marks an important moment in our democratic calendar. The Sonja report is not simply a statutory requirement, like other speakers who have spoken said. It is a constitutional duty anchored in the values of transparency, accountability, and public participation. Through it, the judiciary provides a candid account of the work we have done in the past year, how we have exercised judicial authority, the progress achieved, how we have utilized the resources given to the judiciary. We account for the challenges we have encountered along the way and the reforms that we wish to undertake. This annual report reinforces the judiciary's transparency, accessibility, and accountability as an independent arm of government. It is through such mechanisms that we keep faith with the sovereign will of the Kenyan people, where we remain open to scrutiny and continue to engage Kenyans so that we can build public trust in the administration of justice. The theme of this year's report, enhancing accountability and public trust in the judiciary, speaks to our institutional focus on enhancing public trust, which is the lifeblood of any justice system. Without it, even the most sophisticated courts cannot command confidence, obedience, or legitimacy. For this reason, the judiciary has continued to strengthen the integrity of our systems, deepen internal accountability, to improve performance management, to widen access to justice, and to accelerate implementation of the social transformation through access to justice blueprint. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Sonja demonstrates the progress we have made in building an accountable, people-centered justice system. Justice belongs to the people. Everybody wants to experience fairness and justice. Therefore, we have undertaken institutional reforms aimed at enhancing the enforcement of ethical standards, protecting the public from misconduct, and ensuring that every judge, judicial officer, and staff members, all of them uphold the highest ideals of professionalism as detailed by the speech by the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice, who is in charge of performance and disciplinary matters, especially for our judicial officers, and staff. In advancing public trust, communication and openness remain essential. We strengthened the institutional communication through the establishment of the Judiciary Spokesperson's Office, operationalization of the Judiciary Call Center, and held the inaugural Judiciary Dialogue Day, a milestone participatory platform where we invited citizens in all the court stations. We invited partners and stakeholders where they engaged directly with judges, judicial officers, and staff across the court stations in the country. In addition, our court stations held open days, breaking down barriers between the courts and the communities they serve, and enhancing transparency and accountability at the grassroots levels. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, our guests, access to justice also improved significantly during the last financial year through expansion of the judiciary's physical and digital footprint. We continued to grow judicial presence across the country by operationalizing new courts and sub-registries. These include a new Court of Appeal sub-registry in Garissa, bringing the total number of the Court of Appeal sub-registries to 6. We also operationalized 2 High Court stations in Isiolo and Makandara, and 5 additional High Court sub-registries, ensuring the presence of the High Court in all the 47 counties. Please clap for that. We also operationalized 6 new magistrates' courts, bringing the total number of magistrates' courts to 143 in 133 constituencies. We also handed 3 new small claims courts, increasing the number of small claims courts to 40. We also enhanced the Environment and Lands Court's capacity by establishing a new appeals division in Nairobi. The transition of the Retirement Benefits Appeals Tribunal to the Judiciary raised the number of tribunals under our administration to 27 out of 43 shared services centers for tribunals in Nairobi and Kisumu to enhance access to justice through tribunals and to optimize resources. Your Excellency, beyond establishing new courts, we strengthened the reach of justice through mobile courts, where 59 mobile courts were in operation, which brought services to remote areas. And through these mobile courts, we have registered 7,872 new cases and resolved 6,751. The Judiciary also expanded the court annex mediation, establishing 14 new court annex mediations registries, bringing the total number of court annex mediation registries to 82 across the country. While alternative justice systems, AJS, county action plans were launched in 6 additional counties, bringing the total number of counties where the AJS policy is being implemented to 12 at the end of the financial year. These alternative pathways reduce adversarial litigation. They also restore relationships and reduced pressure on the formal court system. Ladies and gentlemen, efficiency remained a hallmark of our court operations in the last financial year, culminating in a historic case clearance rate of 104%, with 621,000 cases filed as compared to 647,000 in the resolved in the same year. Pending cases reduced by 3%, while backlog, defined as cases older than 1 year, dropped by an impressive 30%, especially at the High Court and the Magistrates Court. An analysis of case filings during the year revealed an 80% overall decline in criminal cases, and the police are very happy with that, and a 58% increase in civil cases compared to previous year. This increase in civil cases was largely driven by the small claims courts, which recorded a staggering 58% increase in case filings, reflecting its success as a transformative engine of access to justice for individuals and small businesses. Through Mahakama Popote initiative, which Your Excellency is our own innovation, you never left this when you practiced, we were able to redistribute 19,000 cases from high volume courts to stations with lower case loads, resulting in the resolution of 14,000 matters through this initiative, and therefore proving that digital innovation can democratize case management and reduce delays. Digitization has been a major pillar of our reform agenda. We accelerated automation of judicial services through expansion of the case tracking system, adoption of AI-enabled speech-to-text transcription, and enhancement of digital infrastructure to cover 177 court stations and offices nationwide. In addition, we launched the Judiciary mobile application, which has enabled us to improve accessibility of our services by enabling litigants to track their cases, obtain updates, and access information in real time, especially obtaining dates and the mentions of their cases. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, human capital remains the backbone of judicial transformation. The judiciary's workforce, as has been mentioned, stands at 6,979 employees, representing 64% of the approved establishment. The increasing number of stations and expanding jurisdictions demands urgent need for additional staffing to sustain improvements in access to justice and maintain high standards of service delivery. Yesterday, we went to Parliament to listen to the State of the Nation address by His Excellency the President. We had to run away, me and the Deputy Chief Justice, because the members of Parliament are reaching out to us to open a court in their constituencies. And we don't have money to open. So we told them to allocate us money, and then we'll be able to hire staff, because they said they can even build the court for us. However, the achievements in increased case clearance rate have been realized in the context of significant financial constraint, as detailed by the Chief Registrar. These financial constraints continue to affect our infrastructure development, our digitization, because our servers now are growing old, and because of the overload. If there is anything that keeps me up at night, makes me lose sleep, is to imagine that we are going to lose the gains we have made in digitization. We also need to recruit judges, judicial officers, also for the tribunals, and we need to increase our capacity in terms of training and other operational capacities. In addition to launching the Sonja today, we are also launching or unveiling the Social Transformation Through Access to Justice Blueprint Simple Guide, one which is user-friendly, one which can be a simple companion, and one that distills the core ideas, vision, and priorities of STAJ. We want this to be accessible in this format for public consumption. This guide is designed to demystify our judicial reforms agenda. It's also meant to clarify the judicial transformation journey and empower judges and judicial officers, staff and citizens, our partners, our stakeholders and justice actors understand in a meaningful manner what STAJ is all about, and also to participate in our people-centered justice agenda. This simplified guideline reflects our commitment to transparency, civic education, and ensuring that Kenyans not only access justice, but also comprehend the systems, the processes, and the values that animate it. By providing clear explanations of the outcomes, strategies, and priorities that we are pursuing, and the role of each actor in strengthening justice delivery, the guide serves as a practical tool for fostering partnership and accountability in this reform journey in Kenya and beyond. In conclusion, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the Sonja report affirms that the judiciary continues on a steady path of transformation, becoming more efficient, more transparent, more accessible, more responsive to the needs of the people of Kenya. Our progress is the result of dedication of judges, judicial officers, and staff, and the invariable support that we receive of our partners across the government, civil society, professional bodies, and the private sector. I wish to extend my heartfelt appreciation to all of them who have contributed to last financial year's milestone. This is work of our collective efforts that has taken us this far. And with those remarks, it is now my honor and privilege to invite His Excellency the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to deliver his speech. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Asante sana. I would have used that one also. Chana ma protocol mingi. Good morning. My Lady Chief Justice Martha Koome, President of the Supreme Court. It is true that this event was supposed to be graced by His Excellency the President. It is also true that he told you and explained why he could not come. It's also true that through your intervention, he asked me to come and represent him. However, my lady, as good lawyers say when they want to disagree with a judge, with great respect, the president did not negotiate with me, and the president cannot negotiate with me to come here. He directed me and instructed me to come. But as I've said, with deep respect. Now, I'm happy to be here in a very familiar territory. I recognize all the protocols of all the dignitaries present, both from the judiciary, the representatives of the executive, and the representatives of the legislature, the diplomatic people, and the justice sector players. Please, I appreciate each one of you. My lady Chief Justice, did you notice that the 4 people who are sitting on your left, 2 of them representing the executive, the other 2 representing the 2 houses of parliament? Did you notice all the 4 of them are officers of the court? That's how powerful you are. And so we will behave ourselves accordingly. In fact, we were consulting there when I was talking to my sister there, Minister for Lands. I was asking her on which side, where are we? Are we in court or where? We need to understand how we behave. So we are glad to be here. The judiciary, not just in Kenya, is a very powerful institution. It helps democracy to operate within the rules and to interpret those rules. But my lady, Chief Justice, great power comes with great responsibility. So it is hoped, even as you launch the report and assess yourself as you deliver services to the people of Kenya, you will also reflect on your responsibility to the people of Kenya, because great power comes with great responsibility. I will not really give a speech. I see some people brought me a speech here. I don't need the speech, because what I want to do today is just to give a few reflections. Because sometimes when you have a moment like this, you don't want to, you just want to be as natural as possible so that you can give your best. So let me just say that this administration came into office at a time when there was an institutional confrontation between the executive and the judiciary. The executive had declined to swear in 6 judges who had been hired to serve in the Court of Appeal. President William Ruto, in his inauguration speech in Kasarani, promised that upon taking oath of office, he will swear those 6 judges, which he did, I think, the following day. From that moment, there has been no doubt that this administration believes, supports, and affirms the place and stature of the judiciary in our democracy. Allow me, my lady, the Chief Justice, distinguished guests, to also point out 3 other things that this administration has done to demonstrate goodwill and commitment to affirming the place and posture of the judiciary in our democracy. 1, this administration is the administration that has sworn in the highest number of judges of superior courts within 3, and if you extend it, 4 years. Other than in 2003, when we had many judges taking oath of office under the new constitution, there is no other administration which in 3 years the head of state has sworn as many judges of the Supreme Court. And therefore I take pride to be associated with the progress we've made to try and increase the wherewithal of the judiciary to deliver services to the people of Kenya by providing the necessary support and resources to make sure that we increase the number of judicial officers and judges. And so far, 51 judges have been sworn in, judges of the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and also the Environmental and Land and Environment Court. Another 40 are in the process of being recruited, and another 45 will be recruited next year. So we are on a good trajectory. This administration also has facilitated the JSC to recruit 114 magistrates, and another 100 magistrates are currently being recruited, bringing a total to 214 in 3 or 4 years. Secondly, the budget. The 2022 budget for the judiciary was at 21 billion shillings. The current budget, the Chief Justice has confirmed to me, is at 26 billion shillings. It is not enough, but there is modest progress. The Chief Justice has also whispered to me that the judiciary will be presenting a supplementary budget request. The executive, working with Parliament, will support that request. The third thing that this administration has done is to operationalize the Judiciary Fund, which has not been operationalized for 13 years until 2023. It may not be optimal. There are a few things we need to look at in terms of both the amount but also the mechanisms of the judiciary accessing and managing that money independently. And some of the constraints are coming from other independent offices, which are also flexing their mandate. And we have undertaken to mediate, oversee a smooth understanding amicably between the judiciary and the other independent offices involved in the disbursement of money to make sure that that fund is used independently, accessed independently, as it is supposed to be by the judiciary. So there is work in progress. And lastly, because I don't want to speak forever, is the judges' retirement law. When I accompanied the president here, some times back, I can't remember what was that. I think it was Supreme Court at 12. When the Supreme Court was entering teenage, I came here accompanying the president. And when we sat in the office of the Chief Justice, there were 4 issues that the judiciary, and I know my Lady Justice Ndungu was there, Justice Philomena Mwilo, Deputy Chief Justice, was there in that meeting. My big brother, Justice Ouko was in that meeting. There are 4 issues that the judiciary raised that they needed support from the executive to actualize. Some of them have been actualized, and the remaining ones will be actualized because we've discussed and agreed. One of it was the judges' retirement law. And I know the president directed me to fast track the conclusion of that law, which I did. I managed to convene on behalf of the president, the National Treasury, SRC, the Attorney General. That law was taken to Cabinet. Cabinet approved. We took it to Parliament. That law will be passed in the next few days. That is a demonstration of goodwill, because it is wrong for people who have served the country in the esteemed office of judge to retire into poverty, where they cannot even access medical treatment, where they cannot even move. They are walking in old age after serving so many years as judges. And therefore, these are just some of the pointers to work in progress towards affirming and supporting the judiciary so that they can be, the judiciary can be able to deliver on the mandate that is given to it by the Constitution. And so that is where we are. I have said a few other things remain, and we can discuss that later on, Chief Justice, and they will be done because that work was delegated to me and I don't fail. I have never failed, I don't fail. The remaining thing, I am glad you called my sister here Alice. She's the one holding us back in one of the issues. It's like you are reading my mind. And when she came here, she spoke very well, of course. But she didn't tell us when you will have the title deed. She said as soon as possible, but that's not what we agreed, my sister Alice. Because again, we negotiated that here with the judiciary, and that meeting was chaired by the President of the Republic. And a decision was made, and I was delegated to follow up as the mtu wa mkono. My sister Alice, you must give the judiciary their title deed before Christmas for this place. And the same way, I am also here because I ought to have been somewhere else, but I was directed to come here. So I'm also cascading my influence and asking you to honor that, to honor that commitment by the president, so that we give the judiciary a Christmas of a new judges' retirement law and the title deed to their land here. Having said that, let me commend you, the judiciary through the Chief Justice, on the progress you've made. The automation. I think the Judiciary of Kenya has made tremendous strides in automation. And I must thank the development partners who have supported the judiciary of our country to make those strides. I agree with you, Chief Justice, that we should not lose the gains we have made in automation. It has helped in case management and also the speed of the service delivery. When COVID-19 struck our country, the retired Chief Justice David Maraga rules also helped us further by introducing virtual courts and hearings and filing of pleadings and so forth. let us not, Corona is no longer here, but let us not go back, because what Corona taught us is that some of the things we do really, we can do them differently and get faster results. So I want to commend you on automation. I also want to commend you as the Kenyan judiciary on the strides you've made in the promotion of ADR, AJS, and mediation. Having done that, allow me to conclude my remarks by giving reflections. And my reflections will be not on the administrative and practical and operational issues I've been talking about, but my reflections are jurisprudential, because at the end of the day, the decisions that courts make, especially superior courts, is what now helps us put together the entire service delivery ecosystem. And that's what guides our clarity on the law and the Constitution. Number one, as I said during my remarks during the Supreme Court at 12, I'll be happy as a law student to see greater jurisprudential clarity on the question of the independence of the judiciary. It is it's a very, very highly entrenched principle, and there is no dispute on whether the judiciary is supposed to be independent. What we are looking for is clarity on where that independence meets with interdependence with other arms of government, because at some point, however extreme, however pure that doctrine is, at some point it will intersect with interdependence. That is my understanding of separation of powers, and the old doctrine of Montesquieu, and all the students of constitutional law in the House will agree with me. Because unless you want to persuade me, which you won't, that this independence is limitless, because that again would go against the doctrine of separation of powers, which in its basic form says that every man or woman entrusted with power has the tendency to push that power as far as it can go. So the only remedy to make sure that no arm of government or no person holding public office abuses the power they have is the checks and balances and the intersection between what that arm or that person does with other organs of state. I have submitted before, and I do submit here again, now that I have the chance, that this independence, broad and pure as it may be, must only be restricted to 4 areas. 1, decisional independence, which allows every individual judge and every judicial officer to determine the outcome of a matter before them based on the facts, the law, the evidence. There is no negotiation about decisional independence. That one is pure and it is complete. Similarly, there is my understanding of judicial independence other than decisional independence. It is administrative independence to administer yourselves, the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Chief Registrar, the presidents of the various courts, and to carry out your administrative you administer the institution without interference. Thirdly, operational independence, to carry out your operations without interference. And finally, financial autonomy, which is what we are discussing here, how we can perfect that. Anything beyond those 4 legs, decisional independence, financial independence, administrative independence, and operational independence, you must submit to other arms of government and other agencies for a democracy to work. That is my submission, and I could be persuaded otherwise, but not today. The second reflection is on the clarity that we aspire for around our very progressive constitution. My understanding, and here I want to admit I could be wrong, is that the jurisprudence I've seen so far since this very progressive constitution came to place somehow equates the entire constitutional framework and treats it as a set of norms of equal status. So you interpret the Constitution from cover to cover and assume anything and everything provided, all the norms enshrined in that Constitution enjoy equal constitutional status because those are provisions of the Constitution. With tremendous respect, I hold the view that there is a hierarchy of norms in our Constitution. We have a hierarchy of norms in the Constitution. Some constitutional provisions are superior to the others. That is why, for example, by way of example, that is why if you wanted to amend the Constitution, parts of the Constitution can be amended by Parliament, and the matter ends there. But if you touch other norms, you have to go back and conduct a referendum. That already creates a hierarchy of norms in the Constitution. If you touch this one, you go back and do a referendum. The others, you can amend. That is just one example of the hierarchy of constitutional norms. The same document, same constitution, but it creates a staircase of norms. With great respect, I argue that provisions like those in Article 4, Article 5, Article 10, and Article 238 of the Constitution are primordial and entrenched national interest issues which cannot be varied even by the judiciary. If the judiciary attempts to vary those primordial and existential norms, the judiciary runs in confrontation with the people. So the same way some norms are superior is the same way they should be interpreted with care. With care, and I dare say with great care. Because if it is, for example, constitutional amendment, you cannot, for example, amend Article 4, which says Kenya is a multi-party democratic state. If you want to amend that article, you must go to the people for them to decide we are no longer a democracy, we are a dictatorship. So the same way that provision is given that superiority, and there are many others, it's the same way the interpretation of those norms must be very, very carefully handled. And therefore, this hierarchy of norms, we need to see more of it. I brought in Article 238 because Article 238 has bits and pieces. If you read it with Article 10, you'll find bits and pieces of what the framers of the Constitution consider to be the core national interests that must be protected. The internal and external threats to the existence of Kenya are in Article 238. And I'm sorry here, I'm a bit biased because in my journey of service to the nation, I have for 2 years been in charge of the national security of Kenya. And therefore I have a bit of bias there because Article 238 talks on what the national security agencies for both internal security and defense must protect from our sovereignty and the other elements in Article 238. The third and second last reflection is on our Bill of Rights. I want to commend our judiciary for doing a wonderful job in providing a good jurisprudence on our Bill of Rights. Going into the future, I want to respectively suggest that the judiciary should help us to unbundle the Bill of Rights beyond the political and civil rights, because that's where we have concentrated on. I see my Lord here, the Deputy Chief Justice of South Africa. I have a lot of admiration for the legal system and the judiciary of independent South Africa. And again, let me first of all declare a conflict of interest. Part of my education, part of my modest education was acquired in your great country. But having said that, having declared interest, you know, there's nothing wrong with conflict of interest, so long as you declare it, and also assure that it will not interfere with the decisions you make. Now, our country has done so well in providing very robust interpretation of the Bill of Rights, but unfortunately until now, we have concentrated on unbundling civil and political rights, which are the first generation rights. Yet the Constitution of Kenya places at the center of the Bill of Rights socio-economic rights. The reason I mentioned South Africa is because the South African Constitutional Court has given us great jurisprudence on many issues, starting with the right to life issues in the South Africa versus Makwanyane case in 1995, the first landmark decision of that Constitutional Court. But on the question of socio-economic rights, the famous case of South Africa versus Sobromani, the man who had chronic kidney failure. and was confronted with a denial for treatment in a South African hospital, yet the Constitution of South Africa, just like the Constitution of Kenya today, had a provision saying, very, very clear words, very accurate but very brief and clear words, that no one will be denied emergency medical treatment. And you know, when the lawyers for Mr. Subramani, who was dying out of kidney failure and was denied emergency medical kidney dialysis treatment, went to court. Unfortunately, the South African court found against him. But they gave us very good jurisprudence about socioeconomic rights, especially the right to health. Mr. Subramani lost the case. The Constitutional Court gave the decision a day like today. The following day, Subramani died. And many people in South Africa started asking, so what is the business of this Article 27? If the Constitution says you cannot be denied emergency medical treatment, and then the court tells us that this is not enforceable, so what is that article doing in the Constitution? Okay? What is that article doing saying you have a right? So later on, the court redeemed itself, the South African court redeemed itself by clarifying the parameters of enforcing socioeconomic rights. Progressive realization, some of the rights have internal qualifiers, it's just access to the right as opposed to absolute right. But at least there was progress on other things around housing, medical, and other socioeconomic rights. You have a challenge, the Judiciary of Kenya, to interpret Article 43 of the Constitution. It cannot be muted. You must tell us what those rights in Article 43 mean for Kenyans. And this administration has been very focused. If you look at the manifesto of this administration, very focused on realization not just of civil and political rights, the first generation rights, but helping our country also progressively, subject to available resources, realize the socio-economic rights that are in the Constitution. So, those are my reflections today. I have many others. I've been looking for a chance, which I rarely get, because the kind of things that I do these days are quite opposite of, there is very little reflection in the things that I do. But please, help us. Maybe one last thing. On judicial overreach and the political question doctrine, I'll pose a question. To what extent must courts make determinations that touch on the political doctrine issue? Maybe let me recraft the issue. If an administration in a democracy runs on a program, when it is campaign time, it's called a manifesto. And that administration is voted in by the people elected and sworn in office on the basis of certain priorities. Housing, health, we will do this in health, we'll do this in housing, and the people says, go ahead and do it. okay? Because there is another group looking for leadership saying, we don't like this, we are in the opposite side, we don't like this program on housing, we don't like this one on health, we don't like the other one. So when the people decide that we want these things done, it is true courts must always help us at the end of the day, in the long term, to ensure that whatever is being run, if it is a program on housing, on health, and so forth, it is done in accordance with the Constitution and the law. But I'm just wondering why, again, in the question of balance, why is it that as an individual litigant, individual citizen, who is aggrieved by the implementation of a program that has been passed through by the people in a popular manner, and in fact, that administration is now being judged on the basis of those commitments, why should my right as an individual and commercial rights, let me put it that way, maybe commercial rights, maybe I'm not happy with a decision which was made on who implements, who implements that program. Why should my right as an individual frustrate the implementation of a program which has been approved by the people in a democratic place, especially on an interim basis? Why should my right stop the implementation of a healthcare system, I'm just asking hypothetically, or a housing or whatever other issue program, it can be on education, etc., and arrest the progress of 55 million Kenyans? The question I have, why can't I litigate my right as the rest of the country implements a legitimate program that has been validated by the people, in the event that in the final analysis my right has been violated? I'm sure 55 million people can compensate my damage as one person, but the one person cannot compensate damage caused on 55 million people whose rights to the services delivered by this program have been frustrated by interim orders that have taken 3 years to discharge. I submit. Thank you very much and have a good morning. And I'm sorry for if there is any executive overreach.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. With your permission, we may take our seats for a few minutes. With your permission, Your Excellency, we may take our seats. And may I now invite your attention to the screens for a special video presentation, after which I will request Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, to present the SOJA report formally to His Excellency and to the Houses of Parliament. Technical team, are you ready? In the interest of time, Your Excellency, allow me.
This is the story of a judiciary transforming justice delivery for every Kenyan. A year defined by progress, innovation, and a deep commitment to the Constitution. The State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Report 2024-25 captures this journey, showing how deliberate action under the social transformation through Access to Justice Blueprint is reshaping access to justice across the Republic. Courts, tribunals, sub-registries, and mediation centers have grown closer to the communities, opening doors that were once too far away. Digitization and the Mahakama Popote initiative have changed how justice works, faster processes, smarter systems, and a historic 104% case clearance rate that proves justice can be timely. Integrity and accountability have been strengthened, building greater public trust in the system entrusted to serve all. And across Kenya, the alternative justice system framework continues to honor culturally grounded ways of resolving disputes, keeping peace at the community level and complementing the formal courts. This is the judiciary in motion, innovating, expanding access, delivering results, all guided by the Constitution, all committed to social transformation through access to justice. The State of the Judiciary Report 2024-25, Justice Closer Than Ever.
Thank you very much for that. May I invite a round of applause, please, for the work that you have all done this year in making this report a reality. Honorable Chief Justice, may I welcome you to the stage, with the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice as well. May I also welcome the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly and the representative of the Senate, Honorable Senator Hilary Sigei. And with your permission, Your Excellency, may I welcome you to the stage for the formal presentation. Let's have the reports. May I also welcome Honorable Aden Daud to join on behalf of JLAC of the National Assembly. I think that, James, to be able to formally hand over, we can allow the Honorable Chief Justice to hand over the report to His Excellency. Honorable Chief Justice, you may now hand over the report to His Excellency, signaling the fulfillment of the dictates of the Constitution. We will also have a moment of celebration. That really is a testament of the fulfillment of the law and the Constitution that requires full accountability to the Kenyan people. Thank you very much. Honorable Chief Justice, allow me, Your Excellency, to welcome the leadership of the judiciary leadership team to join you on stage as we celebrate this launch. And the Judicial Service Commission. We have Honorable Senator Dan Manzo as well. Please join on stage. And our two special guests there during this momentous launch of the State of the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice report. We will have that photo. And thereafter, I will request that we are joined by the President of the Law Society and all the speakers on the program today for a picture. Services. We can have a photo, a complete photo. Zakim will help us organize the photo. I will thereafter invite it is important because we will hold this photo as a continuing relic of our collaboration and cooperative governance as dictated by the Constitution. Band, please continue. After this photo, I will welcome all the judges to also join the photo. All our judges present. The State of the Judiciary report could not be without your phenomenal contribution and indeed the tireless efforts to enhance case clearance to the historic 104%. It has been because of your tireless efforts, because of your innovation, and because of your continued commitment to access to justice that this day and this report is as monumental as it is. I can request our speakers to take their seats as we allow the judges to join the photos so that we only have the leadership of Parliament, the leadership of the Judiciary, His Excellency, and the honorable judges. Indeed, that is the sound of patriotism, and this is the face of access to justice in Kenya. On the screen, you will have a QR code. The protocol team will also distribute the State of the Judiciary at a glance so that you can download the report and read it at your leisure. We have summarized the report for you in an abridged version report, and we are happy to continue with this conversation. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. With your permission, I will welcome the Honorable Chief Justice to escort Your Excellency to leave at your leisure, and we will continue here for the rest of the program. May I request that we remain here to be able to continue and complete the rest of the program. As His Excellency departs, we are grateful. We thank Your Excellency. We thank the leadership of Parliament. We thank our partners for joining us and continuing to support the judiciary in the execution of our mandate in fulfillment of the constitutional dictates of access to justice. Band, you can give us some entertainment.
And your presence today affirms the solemnity of this constitutional moment as we account to the people of Kenya, the ultimate custodians of judicial authority. Honorable Chief Justice, this year's theme, enhancing accountability and public trust in the judiciary, could not be more fitting. It speaks directly to the constitutional reality that judicial power is delegated by the people, and therefore our legitimacy rests on their trust. So